Earlier this week, Bubba Wallace made NASCAR history, becoming only the second black driver ever to win a top series and the first in almost 60 years. Back in 1963, when Wendell Scott became the first, his win wasn't even officially recognized. Second place finisher was awarded the trophy, and it was only this past summer that NASCAR did acknowledge his win. Now, even if you don't follow NASCAR too closely, you may recognize Bubba Wallace's name from controversies surrounding the hate that's been directed at him from some fans, particularly after a noose was found in his garage last year, though the FBI did determine it was not targeted at him, allegedly, and had been there for months. For the record, NASCAR called in the FBI, not Wallace. And now, even after his win, some claim NASCAR rigged it in his favor because it was a rain-shortened race. For his part, after his historic win, Wallace said, quote, "This is for all the kids out there that want to have an opportunity and whatever they want to achieve and be the best at what they want to do. You're going to go through a lot of bull you-know-what, but you always got to stick true to your path and not let the nonsense get to you." My next guest is someone who's well on his way. Blake Lothian started go-karting at age 5 and was beating adults on NASCAR tracks before he was old enough to get his license. Since 2019, he's been in a NASCAR Drive for Diversity Development program, and last month he won his first major event. Congratulations on that, Blake Lothian. It's good to meet you. Thanks for being here.
First off, thank you for having me.
What appealed to you about auto racing at age 5 or 6, really?
Honestly, it's just I've struggled at ball and sport, stick and ball sports. I struggled at soccer. Wasn't really good at baseball, but then I saw NASCAR and instantly fell in love with the sport.
Well, in NASCAR, then and now, there are not many people who look like you. Did that not put you off, or were you so determined that it didn't matter?
I was so determined. I'm not sure what it was, but I just fell in love with the sport and nothing deterred me away from it.
And you're now in a program which I hadn't heard about until recently that NASCAR has put together, I think to their credit, that is attempting to create a development program that gets young drivers of color, ultimately, hopefully, including you, hopefully, into the top ranks of the sport, correct?
That is correct. I was with it for the past 2 years. I have to say that program really good for getting African Americans and people of color and also women into the sport of NASCAR. It really helps them with funding and gets them into good rides.
So, as I say, Bubba Wallace won the first race by a black driver in a mere 58 years. How many black drivers are there, first of all, in top rank NASCAR today besides Wallace?
I mean, there's Kyle Larson. He is technically an Asian driver. We have Jesse Bougie in the up and coming in the truck series, and now going to be full time in Xfinity. But except for that, there aren't many drivers of color in NASCAR. So I hope to change that in the future. And NASCAR Drive for Diversity hopes to change that as well.
So, what does this mean for the sport and for young drivers of color or would-be drivers of color? I mean, the only analogy I can think of, and tell me if it's off base, is what Tiger Woods supposedly did in terms of inspiring young kids of color to play golf when they never thought of picking up a club. Is the hope that Wallace's victory, and particularly the beautiful words that I read a minute ago, are going to inspire young kids to take up the sport that they might not have otherwise?
Oh, I 100% believe so. I mean, for me, say if I was little right now, I would look to that and just hope to drive for NASCAR at that point. I think it's really going to encourage a bunch of youth to look into NASCAR, either to drivers or in the NASCAR pit crew program as well, which NASCAR really helps with.
You know, and by the way, we should say, am I right? Michael Jordan is a part owner of the team that Wallace is part of. Is that not true?
That is correct.
That's pretty impressive, better than the basketball team he's running, I should say. So just for a second, I want to touch on the horrors that have been directed at Wallace. Now he's dealt with them. I mentioned this noose situation. Apparently the guy gets hate mail non-stop. He finally wins a race. He didn't decide after it was rain halted. He didn't decide to call the race over. NASCAR did. Yet there's all this criticism in social media and elsewhere that was rigged so a black guy could win. He took it really gracefully, I should say. How did you take the criticism of Wallace and his victory?
Bubba did a really great job of taking all the criticism. And obviously NASCAR tried to get the race restarted. I mean, look at how they tried to get the jet drivers back on the track to dry the track. They tried to get the race back going. I feel like to try to hush the haters as well.
So, Blake, I will ask you the obvious. I assume getting into the Cup Series is your goal, right?
100%.
What does it feel like? What does it feel like in one of those cars when you're doing the turns and you're passing somebody as you've done and you're approaching that? What's the rush like? Can you describe it in words?
It's almost indescribable. I mean, for me, it's just pure joy. It's adrenaline rush. There's so much, but at the same time, it also can feel so quiet. You're so in the zone in the race car. It's hard to describe.
Well, you actually described it beautifully. I wish you a lot of luck. I hope you follow in Wallace's footsteps. Good luck, win a lot of races, and stay in touch with us. Blake Lothian, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.